Now we are. Peace to the family. We are here to talk to you about how to buy the house and resell it with the best
Peace to the family. We are here
and the best market.
How to buy the house.
My bad. Right,
of course it is. Let's try this again, family. So we are here to you today.
How to buy the house.
My bad.
Of course it is. Let's try this again, family. So we are here to you today.
How to buy the house.
There we go. That was interesting. I wish we could edit that part out. We probably could, but for now, we are here today to talk to you about how to buy the house and resell it with the best marketing and research. A very serious subject matter. Many of you are interested in real estate. All of us should be. From pre-K to 12th grade, there are no real estate classes, at least from where a lot of our demographic comes from, right? And that's about 14 years of schooling. And school is supposed to prepare you for life. School is supposed to prepare you in terms of food, clothing, and shelter. You don't necessarily learn how to become a seamstress up in school. You don't get home ec until years after you already started cooking or having an intimate relationship with fast food. And then lastly, real estate. I think it's incredibly wicked to contend or purport that you are preparing people for life and you have them at your disposal for 14 years in the school educational system only for you not to teach them nothing about real estate. Well, you didn't get it for the first 14 years of school, but you will get that information for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours today. Prepare yourself, take notes. Prepare yourself and take notes because we're about to have a serious conversation. A serious conversation. Brother Lawan, talk to me.
Peace, family. Just want to say hello. Number one, my name is Lawan. Thank you guys for tuning in to this small workshop for an hour and a half. Very important to know about real estate. Real estate is something I've been into for a long time. My grandparents, they're real estate developers in the South. You know, of course, they started up in the North and New Jersey. But they taught me a great deal. And then, you know, I went to real estate school to learn more. Went to investment banking school to learn more. Studied secure transactions. You know how, you know, just because, you know, being in a closing, you have about 100 pieces of paper that you got to sign. You have to initial, and the lawyer is just telling you sign here, initial here, sign here, initial here, but they don't tell you or educate you on what it is. It's actually a secure transaction. It's a purchase money security interest in the property, and you're actually just hold on. You're just signing away the property, you know, and any type of protections that you may have that you need in order to get the house, you know.
That's dope. Now, the name of the game is this, my brother. As I'm making sure I'm reaching out to the people reaching out to me, wanting to get in tune with this class, be sure to download the Brother Polite app and definitely be sure to get those classes that we have scheduled starting tomorrow, 12 noon. And if you missed the 12 noon class, which is West Coast time, 3 p.m. East Coast time, you'll be able to also access the video. You'll get your links tonight. You'll definitely have it way before class, 12 noon tomorrow. So don't worry. The class starts at 12 noon. If you miss the 12 noon class, then there's going to be some layover time. And starting from the time you get to access the video later on top of that evening, you'll have it for 24 hours. All the instructions will be explained in the email correspondence, provided you purchase the stream. So don't worry about none of that. We did this class tonight just to give you a little extra incentive towards all the classes we'll be teaching. Now, Luan, what I will do before we really go into the reselling of the property to make this money, since we got a UCC class tomorrow, let's play with them. Let's play with it. Let me ask you something, my brother.
Yeah.
I got a trust. We had a trust class. Go back to the previous class to see about trust.
Mm-hmm.
I got a trust, Brother Luan, an irrevocable trust. A tax lien solo trust fund. I got a trust. Let's just call it a trust.
Yes.
And say I have a LLC. No, we're not too excited about the LLC. I want to function in private, but I also want to be in public. But I want the trust to have a lien on the assets of the LLC. I want the LLC to work in public.
Okay.
But I want the trust to have a lien on it. Where are we going to put these things on the UCC? And why are we going to put these things on the UCC? What is the benefit of creating that scenario? And who am I in retrospect to the functions of the LLC and the functions of the trust? Who am I? Where do I get placed on that UCC doc? And why are we even employing this kind of strategy? What kind of strategy is this in the first place?
Wow. What a loaded question, man. You started me off with okay. All right. If you have an agreement between the LLC and the trust, and that agreement has a condition by which breach would call into question the collateral, the trust would be the secure party and the LLC would be the debtor. But denoting the relationship between the two, first you have to determine what you want to actually what your focus is when it comes to the UCC1, because it's just referencing what is already in agreement. What's already in agreement, that's why they call it the security agreement. The security agreement, the UCC becomes the attachment. So the UCC is reiterating and registering that which has already been agreed upon. Okay. So if there is positions to be played, the secure party and the debtor, you must determine that which party you want to be the lesser and want to be the more powerful. Of course, that's a secure party. The secure parties are made by debtors. So by the agreement, the debtor has to say or agree that they're transferring interest if breach was to occur. All right. So when breach occurs in Section 4 of the UCC1, it'll have a collateral description so that whatever it is property being transferred from the LLC to the trust. You can use it just for transfer because that's a bailment. So if you have a bailment agreement, then you are transferring property without breach. But if there is a seller and a buyer, then there has to be breach. If there is a promissory note, then there has to be breach in order for the collateral to come in question.
Okay. Get it? So where we sign on the UCC,
Mm-hmm.
there's all these words and terms on that document.
Yes.
Where are we putting what is the term that we're going to put LLC on? What is the term that we're going to put trust on?
Okay, well, it has a section on the UCC if property is being held in trust. You can just check that off if it is, or leave it unchecked if it is not. Only if it's applicable. Is the form is not it's user friendly. So if there is an LLC involved, they don't have a position for which you would check for LLC. We just want to know if property is in trust or if it is not. As far as the LLC is concerned, LLC would play the position of the debtor, if I'm reading it correctly. But as far as the secured party, the trust is going to be the secured party.
That's my man. Daddy duties. Apologize. My girls is going out ice skating with NBA players while I'm in here doing what I love to do. This is my ice skating ring. Yeah, you thought I was going to complain, did you? All right. So I want you to go over it one more time. Why is the UCC so important? And for who in particular? Also, I would like you to tell us who gives birth to the creditor. Because, matter of fact, let me do it like this. Matter of fact, answer that question, and then I'm gonna show something very interesting on the screen. So, to whose advantage does the UCC really work for? Because some people say this is just for rich folk,
Yeah.
and then others say UCC is illegal, whatever that means. So, I just want to make it very clear. I'm just warming them up for class tomorrow. I just want them to get their reservations out of here and give them some of the nuances to UCC. You know what? Matter of fact, answer that, and then I got one more question for you.
That's good. I was speaking about the other day when it comes to the UCC one, and the reason why people don't know that it exists or is a legal process and is used all over the world all the time is because when they open their LLC packages, right, what is usually there is a UCC one and a sample security agreement, because that is a part of business. It is a part of business to have to go into contract with other businesses or other people, because there's actually equal consideration taking place in negotiation. Okay, so if you were to just look through your paperwork, if you hire a company to do your LLC paperwork for you, you will see a UCC one there, because it's going to protect your interests in property, because people default all the time. People, they don't pay, and you want to have a realm of recourse that doesn't mean you have to go to court every time. Okay, this form is put into place so that people can they don't have to bring every case into court. You don't need to do that if you have a UCC one filed and you're first in time and first in line. That right there is the crux of why it exists. It exists so many cases would not go to court. And we know that if anything is recorded in the county recorder's office, it is automatically to be received into evidence. It cannot be dismissed out of evidence. It has to be admissible because it is a lawful document. It has a library number, a book and page. The judge will definitely allow it to be entered into evidence. Not that you even need to go to court anyway. But if you need to go to court, of course, you proceed yourself with paperwork and you just, give a copy, to the prosecutor, to the clerk, so on and so forth, get your time, date stamp, boom, 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 and you just enter it into the record. And once the judge reads it, there's nothing else to say.
Just give me clothes.
You got your clothes.
Yeah, it's up there.
Is everything having technical difficulties? Hello? What just happened? Can y'all hear me? If y'all can hear me, press 9. Okay. I can't even. I don't know what happened to Polite, but I'm here. Hold on. Somebody asked a question earlier. I'll just go into answering some of y'all questions. If you got a question, put it up. We need theme music. All right, Mitch. You know, Polite is good at just asking questions and not just answering them. This is not my thing. I like to just stay in the backfield, you know, and do the work. But today we're talking about real estate, how to buy and how to resell. How can I buy a house with no money? That's a good question. Something else. What happens if you want to buy a house with no money? Hold on. I could say you can have an interest in real estate by just investing in what's called a real estate investment trust. A real estate investment trust is a publicly traded company that's on the stock market, and you can invest in a company. Like, say you have $1,000. They will offer you a preferred rate, you know, and the properties that they have to pay 90% of the rental income to their investors. So you being an investor, you would have a profit sharing agreement just because you actually invested in that company. That's like the easiest way to get into real estate. No credit check, no large money coming out, no shenanigans when it comes to, you don't have to know much to share in the rental income of properties that are being publicly traded. REITs are very, very interesting. They have considerably outperformed the stock market for the last 4 years. So if you don't have much money, you can buy properties you can buy into an interest by getting a brokerage account and just, you know, talking to the manager at the bank who handles opening brokerage accounts and telling them you want to invest in a real estate investment trust. If you look up, like, you can Google top 5 REITs, REIT. Okay. and just look into those companies to see how they performed over the last 5 years and see what you like. You know, call up the fund manager or, you know, the trust manager and see exactly how what you need in order to invest. All right, it's nothing but a phone call away. But sometimes they have what's called, well, most of the time, every day, they have the Morningstar report. If you go to yahoo.com and put in a specific company like Apple or any publicly traded company, you could just put in Apple 10K, okay, or, you know, Blackstone 10K. 10K is the annual report that is submitted to the Security and Exchange Commission every year by every company that's publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So it's very good to know that, because the Morningstar report will tell you if there's high risk in the investment, if there's low risk, how much is the initial payment, so on and so forth. So if you want to invest in real estate through the stock market, you can invest in a REIT, a real estate investment trust. Look it up. It's actually good information there. They have hundreds of properties under one fund, under one trust, and you know the investors, they raise the money through the stock market, through investors like you and I.
That's enough.
How can I explain the difference between business trust and the LLC? The business trust is an estate planning tool, so it's for people who take their business and their planning very seriously. LLC is a creature of the state, so it's held to statutory laws and codes, and the functions, you know, limited liability. I mean, the name says it all. It's not conclusive, and what is conclusive? Sometimes we have to determine what's a better fit for our company. You know, what we intend to do, how we intend to engage commerce as a trust or as an LLC. What has better protections? The trust, of course. Most things are trust instruments being made and trust agreements. But to answer your question, the difference is one is a creature of the state and one is an estate. So dealing with a business trust, you're dealing with your estate. You're letting the world of commerce know that you're very serious about your business dealings and you're putting your house in order, your financial house in order. Go ahead, Polite. I told people to just put their questions up when you left or when you had difficulties. So, you know, just going off the cuff, I mean, I wanted to give the people, you know, what they want. So I tell them to put their question up there, and I'll just start answering one by one. Boom, 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 boom. Try not to be long with it. But go ahead, brother.
No problem. I didn't like how blurry it looked like it was looking on my screen. And so I wanted to see if I shut it down and came back, if it would look different.
Okay.
You know, it looks weird to me. You feel me? But I'm gonna go with it. So long as you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, I can see you look. I mean, everything looks good from here. When I look on the YouTube, it looks really good.
Oh, it's clear on your YouTube.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll go with it. On mine, it's looking weird. You know, presentation is everything too. But
Yes.
I'll move forward. I'll take your word for it. And for the people out there, does it look clear for y'all out there? Just press 9 if it looks clear. If it doesn't look clear, I see y'all writing it's clear. So don't worry about it. Polite. It's my channel. It's my page. You know, maybe I'm using the wrong server right now, but I'm happy about that. Let me show you some of the things here. We're talking about buying houses, right? Let me show y'all something. We got to do some teaching today. Got to do some serious teaching. So I want you to look at this right here. And I want you to look at this right here. How long do I got 2 things or 1? Wow. So let's look at these 2 statements over here. That's what I want you to look at, these 2 right here.
Mm-hmm. Uniform Commercial Code is, I didn't see it.
It's all free online. It is private law for the rich. Polite is a madman. This guy is named TF Multi trades. You know, I thought it was tirades, you know, because of this statement here. But I listen to the hypocrisy, because what I said I'm gonna start doing is taking the dumbest comments online and give them the attention they're looking for. Because my thing is this, family. If the Uniform Commercial Code info is all free online and it's private law for rich, that's an oxymoron.
Yes, it is.
It's free and it's for the rich. What are you saying? 1 minute you're saying it's free online because you're probably mad that we're having classes that people pay us for strategy. Then the next moment you say it's private law for the rich.
Yeah, I think people are sometimes they get caught in believing that the form is only for one situation. Like I was saying in the other class, with the UCC, it denotes about maybe 6 different types of relationships. So it can't be used for just one thing or one type of person. Are you a seller? Are you a buyer? Or sometimes you're a co-signer or a co-signee? Is sometimes you're a bailee and bailor. What else? Lessee and lessor. Those
But listen,
obligee and obligor. Yeah, absolutely. Because you co-signing for someone to get a car, you think they don't follow UCC 1 on that agreement. Guess what? They will.
Someone wrote here, it is for the rich and those with 750 credit or above. That's Alan Franklin in the chat room.
In the chat room? No way.
He said it's for the rich and with 750 credit or above.
You should Google it right now then, just to see what it takes. I mean, because even in the UCC1 document, it has instructions on how to file. It doesn't say you got to have a 750 credit score.
What are you talking about? I don't even know where they get this info from.
I don't know either. That was crazy.
Now, watch this one. You know, because I'm going to give people what they want. You want to make it to the big time and throw these things here to discourage people. And I don't know where they get these ideas from. I don't know if people are teaching them this. And that's all she wrote. But right here, someone writes, buying real estate, but your primary home is an apartment. Goodbye. AOL. Stupid. So they take a shot at me and say, buying real estate, but your primary home is an apartment. So, you know, this had to have been said by a broke individual.
Man, I wasn't even going to say
I have to say it.
I was going to say that person need to get out of that zip code they living in.
They got to be at least 30,000 or less a year with that kind of understanding. I can tell what you make a year with that kind of understanding. All right? You're in or around 30 grand. And that doesn't make you an idiot, but it makes that person who made that comment certainly an idiot. The amount of money you make doesn't make you an idiot, but the statement you make about money definitely defines you as one. So you taking shots at me because my apartment, what I pay month to month, is way more than I know most people pay for their mortgage. And they'll probably say, well, you're stupid for doing that. You should have just got a house. Well, I'll tell you this truthfully, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. And I tell this to the people I mentor. Buying houses is like me buying a Rolls Royce. When I bought the Rolls Royce, it was for an investment. It was an investment in my marketing strategy for the people that I'm connecting with out here. Okay? It's part of the filling in. It's filler for the status. That's what that was. It's a marketing strategy. So when I'm going to these awards, I'm in conformity with the rules of engagement. When it's time to step on that red carpet, hold the keys. You want the Bentley that I suede it out? Or do you, black suede all over the Bentley, people? Or do you want the Ghost? You feel me? Where the suicide doors open up the opposite direction. And I step out with all these beautiful black women. Only thing we conscious, we might have Africa on our shirt. They may have afros on their head. And we hurting the game because we popularizing consciousness. But I'm doing this for marketing. Why the hell are you buying houses to live in? At that rate. Now, Let me explain something to y'all about buying apartments, particularly luxury apartments.
Right.
Where your light, your gas, your internet, your rent is all inclusive, maintenance, and the amenities that correspond. By amenities, we mean my jacuzzi, my pool. The second I open my door, right here, bah, my jacuzzi, my pool, okay? My conference room downstairs. So when I got business meetings, I could go in my conference room. See, it fits my lifestyle. My floor is for people like me, people who deal with writing in the form of screenplays, people who deal with directing. It's my floor. Upstairs, people that deal with sports, ball players. Next floor, people who deal with movies, okay? Short films. Like, this is how the building is structured. I'm over here, and it's an amazing place to network because all my neighbors are not white. This building has quite a bit of dark-skinned people in here, like the creator of Django, the creator of Boomerang, the creator of House Party, okay?
Wow.
Like, this is just real stuff. My man Tubby just left not too long ago, vice president of Sony Records, okay? So these are black people, just keep it there for what it's worth for people that's out there that's quick to judge. But let me explain something to you, because this is part of the real estate class. If you're still buying houses because you just want to have something to be proud about, then you are just as crazy as the black man who spends a bunch of money on rims and lives in the hood and then buys $2.50 worth of food. So here the black man in the community says, I'm going to buy fried rice and wings, get hot sauce, ketchup, and barbecue sauce. Make sure you load me up with the duck sauce and give me 2 plastic forks. And I want my free 50-cent soda for $2.50. But then he spends $5,000, $10,000 on rims and still lives in the hood. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're no better than him. If you're buying houses with mortgages, they know you can't afford, and you would have known you can't afford it had you not confided in the illusion. Because you're in the illusion. Because I'm going to tell you, this real estate bubble right here, especially with Trump in office, there's going to be a whole lot of foreclosures. Below middle class, the upper middle, extended, they will be the benefactors. But I'm telling you, if you're below the upper middle, because the middle is almost lower class. Lower class don't even exist on the radar. I'm tired of people even saying lower class. They don't even exist no more. With the poverty standard at about $15,000 a year per individual and about $32,000 a year for a family of 4. What are you going to do with that money? Poverty begins at $32,000 a year per family of 4 and $15,000 a year per an individual. Wealth begins at $150,000. So let's look at that oxymoron. If wealth begins at $150,000, how come poverty begins at $32,000? Look how much money is in between there. So that is a overestimation and an underestimation. One or the other is taking place, or both at the same time. How can wealth begin at 150 grand and poverty begin for an individual at 15 grand a year? That means poverty should also begin at $32,000 a year per the individual, not the family of 4. If we hold it in fair ratio to where wealth begins, poverty is all over 30 grand, 40 grand, and 50 grand a year. If you're walking with me. So this tells us if wealth begins at $150,000 a year, it's safe to surmise that the standard for poverty is worse than we conceive. And many of us don't even use our income as a barometer to see where we are at as far as the ability to invest, because that's the only reason they have these numbers in existence. The only reason that they're charting where poverty begins and where they're charting where wealth begins is so intelligent consumers can know when not to invest and where not to invest. So if you're saying, I need a home, and you're bragging, Polite is in an apartment, But I can leave whenever I want. I'm lease to lease. And guess what? In the hood, they want 3 months security, 1 month rent. But when you go in rich areas, they don't even ask you for security. That matches anywhere remotely close to your rent. And they don't definitely ask you for a whole 3 months prior and 2 months prior. This goes on in the hood. It's actually easier to move in to a better neighborhood and less is asked of you. Less is asked of you. So let me tell you, houses are a big hustle when you are not on the side of selling them. Let me say this to you. Buying something that's worth $100,000 without the intention to sell it back or rent it is the problem. And let me say this, buying something for $100 and $100,000 and forced to sell it back would create a situation for a short sale or something of the sort. Because if you're buying houses, chances are it's not going to appraise for higher than you bought it for. So if you're going to buy a house, I would presume you're buying it flat out and you owe no money. Then I wouldn't be able to say something to you. But if you got 30 years, if you got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, or you try to modify the loan and break it down to 15 years, whatever it is you try to do, reverse mortgage, whatever strategy they got going on out there, understand this, family. One of the dumbest things you can do today is buy a house to live in there. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say it again. One of the dumbest things you can do today is buy a house to live in it. Buying a house is luxury, family. Stay in a goddamn apartment. You may not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you the real deal. Buying a house is luxury. It's luxury. So like you in Beverly Hills and you got this apartment, but you ain't got no house and you teach about buying houses. Yeah, I teach about buying houses to sell them. And guess what? A lot of my wealthy friends put me on to game. Let me show you how it works, family. Look at Nate, Brother Lawan. If we were to call Nate right now, let me see if he'll pick up. Let me see. This is one of the brothers I mentor. He's a millionaire, may I add. And he made it during the course of me building with him. Hold on. He's the Fitness Trainer Hall of Fame winner. Youngest to ever do it. Of course, he's a black man. Let me see if he would just pick up this phone. And I'm going to just ask him randomly. What you think about buying houses? You know, rich folk laugh at that. There's a time when you buy it, and it's like buying the Rolls Royce. You're showing it off. It's part of the status, but it's not really an investment, people. It's one of the worst investments you can make if you try. It's not an investment if you're trying to live in it. It's not. You buy it to sell it. You buy it to rent it out. All right, he didn't pick up. You buy it to sell it. Because guess what? My man is in Texas, and guess what he is? He's in a luxury apartment. He saw me, he said, yo, this just, you and I think alike. My situation is set up just like yours. And we laughed. He said, man, I know you sharp. Because I found out about this a little late in the game. I'm like, what? Buying a house is foolish. The pride you have in saying, I got my house. And you also got to pay for it for the next 20-something years. Like, listen, I'm not telling you you shouldn't live in your house. I'm telling you, there's a time when you should get your house. And I got a house on Arden. And guess what I do with that? I rent it out. I rent it out. And those of you that look at my posts from time to time, you see me posting stuff on Airbnb. If you go on my Instagram right now, on my Facebook, you will see that I rent out rooms. You will see it. Right or wrong. Those of you that's in the chat and you keep up with my posts, you'll see something from time to time going up for rent. But there's a Negro saying, ha, 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 teach us about real estate and you stay in an apartment. Let me explain something to you. Because I want people to learn from so many different perspectives here, my brother Lawan. They got to learn from every perspective.
Yes.
When you're young, we live in our family house. You live in your mama house. He said, man, I can't wait to get out of here. This is what we say. I can't wait to get out of here, man. I'm tired of this. Got to do things her way. Got to come in where she want me to come in. Got to follow her rules. And then you get your girlfriend. And the girl gets her boyfriend. And the best moment you have is, yo, now we moved into our own apartment out of mama house. And if you go a little bit further, you leave your apartment to get into your own house. But then with this house comes so many responsibilities. It's so much more bigger. Damn, the boiler just broke. Are we using the electric boiler? Very convenient. Are we still using the water boiler? More subject to abuse and detriment. And hey, y'all, if you know anything about being a homeowner, one of the most tragic scenarios you can go through is when the boiler messes up. It's very costly.
Yes.
It's extremely costly, people. Leave it to a homeowner to tell you. And they normally break down during the worst seasons.
Yeah.
When it's wintertime, pipes freeze up and bust, crack. And then holes gotta be dug. Or walls gotta be torn down when pipes bust. Because where is the pipe that bust? From the freezing cold. And then there's, homeowner strategies. But at the end of the day, you're in your mama house. You think you graduate from your mother house to your own apartment, from an apartment to your own house. Now you live. And if you become a little more successful, guess what you do? You go back into the apartment. You go back into the apartment. And you make all those burdens called cleaning the yard and not getting a ticket, maintenance, cutting grass, boiler shut down, all that's out your head. Just pay one bill. Let me tell you something about paying one bill. It makes your mind less diversified. When you got 8, 10 bills on deck, you get overwhelmed.
I think
Watch this, Juan. When you got 10 bills, you're overwhelmed. But when you move into a place where all the bills are consolidated, meaning it's going to be a little cheaper now, all the bills are consolidated and you pay one bill that represents several, it's less stress. But instead of, I got to pay the light bill, I got to pay the gas bill, I got to pay the water bill. Oh, man. Okay. Pipe bust, I gotta pay for that. All right, what else? I gotta clean the yard. Damn, the toilet ain't working. Now I gotta pay for the plumber. I need an electrician. I gotta pay the mortgage too. Dang, I also gotta pay my property taxes. But you go into an apartment, some of those things are omitted. Additional things that work in your favor are added. And you have one bill that represents them all. Everything from internet, in some cases, toiletries, all of that in one. Less stress, because you pay less bills. Or at least one bill that represents all those bills. Psychologically, it keeps you free and creative. Because when you got a house, some bills come every 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Some bills come every month and a half. And then some bills are recurring month to month.
right.
And what I'm telling y'all is, there's no shame in having a house, only if you're looking to make money. I say shame on you if you're just trying to get a house to feel good about yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, when you leave your mama house and you get your apartment, you leave your apartment, then you get your house. If you should continue to succeed, you go back in apartment. When the house becomes overwhelming, you wind up back into apartment. Either way, one is based on strategy and one is based on force. I'm just telling you. Go ahead, Lawan.
Yeah, I think the chat room needed to hear the last part because what they're doing, they're taking what you're saying and going to the extreme with it, right? See, it's not extreme what he's saying. What he's saying makes perfect sense. If you're not buying a house for investment purposes,
That's right.
it makes no sense.
That's right.
This is, what I was explaining even the other day. I said, listen, The cap rates are better on luxury apartments. The cap rates are better on condominiums. Buy the condominiums and rent them out. Those are luxury apartments. Okay, buy them and rent them out. The cap rates are better. Okay, meaning that your expenses are lower.
Let me show you.
When you rent them out, hold on. When you rent them out, you rent them out for at least 3 times the amount you're getting in Section 8. And now you don't have to have the doggone headache of having Section 8 tenants tear up your things. You get a multi-family house and you get Section 8 tenants, you're going to get maybe $1,200, $1,300 for a 3-bedroom. When you get a luxury apartment, you can get someone that has the money to pay for $3,000 a month, $2,500 a month. You do the math. The expenses are high, very low. Okay, like you said, boilers, you don't have out the door, roof out the door, foundation out the door. Those are the 3 biggest expenses in buying a house.
Facts.
And the thing is, like, I know there are people in the chat that are maybe have some experience with real estate, but I mean, it's like they're don't turn your ears off. You listen to what is being said to you. Okay, buy the house for investment purposes. Buy the apartments for investment purposes.
That's right.
You know, because you can get more money. That's what it's about. Lower expenses. You must be able to lower the expenses. I mean, if you're buying these old beat up houses, you're going to have to replace the roof. My goodness, that's $7,000 and up.
Talk to them.
If you got foundational problems, you can just hang it up, sell it as is. It's over. You know, I mean, you don't even want that expense. The boilers $4,000 and up for the right job to be done.
That's right.
You know,
and you know, so someone says you don't have to pay light and gas for an apartment.
Right.
I don't know who told them that, but it happens. But the point of the matter is, family, what we're saying is you got to do these things for investment purposes. That's what we're telling you, because houses are overpriced. So if your biggest dream is to get into that which is overpriced, you failed yourself and your family. The house is no more than a big ass chain that you're wearing in the community, swagging out for no reason. Because that's what it is. You're no different from the brother or sister who wants to wear the jewelry while they're poor. You're no different from the brother or sister who buys the nice car and parks it in front of projects. I'm talking to you about being an educated consumer. That's what I'm talking to you about.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we're talking about, man. We're talking about renting the properties out. We're talking about make it a halfway house for people coming out of prison. Make it a nursing home. You know, there's different opportunities you have to get money with lower risk of the people renting out from you. Because when the government got a hold of the damn building, you're going to get your check. You know what I'm saying? So these are strategies. Brother Lawan, he has tenants. So he's not talking from a space where he doesn't understand. He owns a building. He owns houses. He has tenants. He has a history of dealing with good tenants and a history of dealing with horrible tenants. You feel me? That's why I like Airbnb so much. Because I don't have to be affixed to a lease for tenants, because it doesn't fall under real estate laws unless the tenants stay there beyond 1 month, or I think even 28 days actually on Airbnb. So long as they stay inside of 28 days, even if you give them a day off and then you let them come back and renew the agreement online, I don't have to fall under the conventional landlord rules and regulations. I like it that way. I like it where I ain't got to worry about evicting anybody. You feel me? And I can charge what I want. And they like it that way because the luxury of not having to be in a lease situation. You feel me? And I don't have to pay for no third party. I don't have to pay for property management, which is another cost that many of us would just overlook anyway. So I have to pay for a property manager. None of that. I can just rent out to you And when I want my home back, I could be back in there. But I could rent at $1,200 a day out here. I could rent for $1,200 a day, 5 minutes away from the Grove. Princess Kate, my neighbor. Antonio Banderas next to me. Arden, 5 minutes from the Grove. Low crime rate, highly reputable school district. The comps, every property around me, damn near better than mine. Mine's is on the corner house, cornerstone of all communities. It's gonna be worth more money. I'm on the corner, mini mansion. The comps off the chain. Think about all the things, how we compound interest. Location-wise, understand what we're talking to you about. So when I Airbnb that joint, the lowest I'm going for is $1,200 a day. You think I'm lying? Check through my social media. Because when I post, and you go and you click the link and you look at, whoa, that's your house, Polite? Now I'm supposed to prove to people online, this is my house. I'm supposed to show them all sorts. No, I ain't got to prove that to nobody. What I have to do, what's my responsibility to do, is to impart wisdom on people from my personal experience of success. That's an obligation. It's a moral obligation I have for my family. When I say family, I mean y'all that's out there on the internet right now, online. While many people like to believe he had to do something slick or negative. But I come here and you can go stream after stream after stream, video after video after video, and you can see how much we educate. You can see how much we give for free. Take this advice and do what you gotta do with it. That's what we say. So I'm concerned about our people because the rumor is you're not a man or a woman until you got you a house that your family can go in. But no one tells you about the investment strategy, the marketing strategy. No one tells you how to properly research for a property that's befitting to your economic interests. No. They want to go into religious wars. No. They want to tell you kill the white man. And the reason they have to do this is because they have no other information. Because there's no one who can be an educator that has benefited greatly from real estate, that while educating, it doesn't come off their tongue at some point or the other, right or wrong. When you have a certain experience, you're bound to share it, especially if you are an educator. If you find yourself with an audience of people that keep up with you day to day, eventually you're going to share some information from your success, or you're going to share your reservations, and you're going to plague people with your illusions. One of those things got to happen.
Yeah.
So we've succeeded in so many ways. It behooves us as people who have an audience to say, hey, we're down with all the other conversations. Because our people are also down with those conversations. But we also have to get to work, because at the end of any presentation you watch online, you got to look into your baby's eyes. You got to look into your wife's eyes. The wife got to look into the husband's eyes. And you got to ask each other, how did we wind up here? How did we arrive here? What do we spend our time and energy into? This is why we say invest in yourself. Use the free classes we give you online that's thorough. Pick up your textbooks. We don't change them from one semester to the next to hustle like the schools do, so you can't share it with your friends. Pick up the books from I Am Brother Polite, study them, and corroborate the testimony of the videos. And if you go a step further, catch us on the online classes. These are things that you have to do that are requisite to getting taking a holistic approach towards the information. Because other than that, you're asking someone to baby you. You got to do this. You got to put yourself in school, because if you leave it up to anybody else, they'll put you in school and you'll come out in debt with still no knowledge on how to stay alive. So here we have the pay-per-view online UCC course, Sunday, January 15th, 2017. Learn how, this is tomorrow, family. Make sure you get this class. All these classes are $30 each, but you can buy the 4-package deal. And make sure you have class every Sunday. And if you miss it at 12 noon, we'll share the link with you where you can have it for 24 hours. So pay-per-view online UCC course, Sunday, January 15, 2017. Learn how to conduct filings for the UCC. Learn how to use the UCC to secure your transactions. Learn about the things that go wrong with UCC as it relates to the most common mistakes. Learn why it is even necessary to use UCC, especially when it comes to real estate. How to use your trust. That's Sunday, January 15, 2017. Pay-per-view online UCC course. That is tomorrow. Get your class. We'll leave the link up throughout tomorrow, but it'll be gone by the end of tomorrow. And the reason why we'll leave it up is because we'll give people the opportunity to still catch this class and get all four for a package deal, because it's cheaper to buy all 4 classes as opposed to buying them each $30 at a time. Pay-per-view online property research, Sunday, January 22nd, 2017. You'll learn how to conduct title search, how to use county surveyor, learn about the tax equalization ratio, and how to understand the comps. Pay-per-view online tax lien, tax deeds, Sunday, January 29, 2017. Learn how to study tax lien, how to study the tax deed, how to get data from your local county, how to find properties outside of your state without risk, and also how to annuitize your returns. Lastly, pay-per-view online accelerated health course, Sunday, February 5th, 2017. What herbs can you mix with each other and why? How to increase potency, that is to say, raise libido with herbs, and which herbs can you use to increase memory? This is going to be a workshop online. We're going to show you how to mix the herbs and what proportion. It's going to be real deep. So you get all 4. You get all 4 classes for $100. All you have to do is purchase them. It's, oh, don't do them 30 at a time and spend the extra 20. So all you got to do is go to IamBrotherPolite.com. Let's take you there. IamBrotherPolite.com. Let's do it. So here we go. And you just click service. And there goes the cart right there, $100. You get 4 classes, or you could buy them one at a time. This is tomorrow's pay-per-view UCC course, Sunday, January 15, 2017. So you got the option to buy all 4 one shot, or you buy 1 class for $30, and you can do it $30 at a time. Okay, so now you got the books. These books right here are your textbooks. Take it serious. For these next set of weeks, you are going to be in our boot camp. When we're done with you, you'll be way more confident in purchasing property because you would know how to research it. You would know how to protect it. You would know how to fill out the docs. You would know where to get the notarizations from. You will understand the distinction amongst the notarizations. You're going to take it to the next level. You're going to buy the house, sign the contract, protect the asset, no mortgage, no protest, no jurisdiction, tone. This book is specially for tonight. Very important book. Of course, Introduction to the Tax Lien, Tax Deed, Pennies Off of Millionaires, Real Estate or Legal Fiction, Stocks and Bonds. That UCC course, you want to focus on real estate or legal fiction. You want to focus on stocks and bonds, and of course, how it relates to us purchasing property and selling it back. Pennies Off of Millionaires is a very, very important book. This has to be a class by itself as it relates to houses are the new credit cards. Yes. Of course, you want Trust Me. You need this. This is all about trust. The document. The document is called trust. The instrument is called trust. The company is called trust. Okay. And then you have the Tax Lien on Steroids. Very powerful book. There's other economic books like Inequity or Iniquity. You want to get that book as well. That's as you go down and you check them out. But these are some serious books. You also need to get your DVDs as a different form of study. Real estate or legal fiction is a different set of material from the actual book. Keep that in mind. You definitely need this one. I will show you step by step to research and purchase land and homes for little to nothing and sell it back for thousands. Double DVD, Belon Avram and Brother Polite. This is a very powerful DVD. It's one of our #1 sellers. Okay, I'll show you step by step how to research and purchase land. This is a #1, and everyone that sees it says they love it. The energy is nice and everything. We got Lover's Law, Family is Business, double DVD. The things that you want. Of course, I got my debates and all that other information, which is good. Shout out to Aminette for the graphics. She does an amazing job. Okay. Kemet Trella. Also rent that on YouTube. So we got a lot of stuff. God-given rights, man-made privileges. If you into UCC, if you into the doctrine of the crown or sovereignty, you need to get a hold of that. And there's some other DVDs there. You know, the other stuff is metaphysical DVDs. That's on a different subject matter, a different day, different time. So, okay. Be prepared for class. Don't mess around and only try to learn through one perspective. It's good to learn from reading, listening, watching streams, watching DVDs. You know, interacting with us here online is real powerful. Then doing the private accelerated courses with us, where it's more like workshops because we're showing you what to do. You guys will be emailed a PDF of the PowerPoint so you can keep it for yourself for the class. Just keep that in mind. We will be emailing you the PDF of the PowerPoint for you to study along with us during class and for you to have a general understanding of the type of documents that you will be filling out. That's starting tomorrow. We're not going to play no games. 12 noon sharp. It's going to be on. You will get the link late tonight. This is all for security purposes and everything. All right, so don't worry about it. You will have the link ready for 12 noon and you'll be able to access the video. Don't worry about it. So Brother Lawan, I want to get you back on the properties. It just is very important that we cover some of that information.
Right. A couple of things. One brother asked about timeshares, Polite. I know you.
I just looked at that.
You will go in on that, definitely. But we're just trying to show you guys how to make the right play. Okay, we don't always have the luxury of making a mistake in business or making a mistake in buying real estate. So we got to have the best information in front of us, okay, and so that we can apply it, okay. And we can't always listen to our local realtor. You know, our local realtor, you know, that is just trying to make his commission, you know, or the local hustler, you know, that's just saying, yo, man, buy this house from me, you know, and so on and so forth. Or, you know, sometimes it's like that. You know, I'm from North New Jersey, so we have plenty of people that are, you know, investing in real estate. You know, they were heavily invested when the market was very good. You know, 2007, 2008. You know, 2005. You know, those were good years for a lot of people. You know, but the thing is, they made a lot of money, but they didn't account for volatility in the marketplace. All right, so if you're making the right decision when you're going into these markets or going into real estate, you can be very wealthy or you can be very broke. You know, with 5, 6 houses, you can be broke. You know, just because you didn't plan better. And there's a discipline in manufacturing called Lean Sigma or Six Sigma. And what Lean Sigma is about is it's about properly organizing. Let me say that, you know, just to be, you know, forthright. organizing, statistical process control. All right, example.
They're saying that there's too much noise in the background. It's
All right, give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
I'm seeing what you write in the chat. I'm responding to it, family. But yes,
I'm coming.
be sure to go to brotherpolite45@gmail.com. Want to further your interest in real estate and all things relevant to what we're talking about.
Yes.
Right here. This is brotherpolite45@gmail.com. Brother POLIGHT 45@gmail.com. And this is whether you need consultations for the buying of the house or doing research, or you ready to get to work, get something going. Don't forget, you need to check out that trust program, because you definitely want to get a trust going. That's fundamental to you doing any type of property acquisitions as far as what we teach is concerned. All right, because what we're talking about is strategy.
Yes, absolutely.
People talk to you about just buying a property, see if you sell it. Where's the strategy? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And is it long term? Is it short term? You know, are you getting a multifamily property? Then the presumption is you're probably looking to rent or something to that effect. If you're looking to try to do something quick, you're probably trying to get a single family. It's more likely that you can flip a single family in the time that is most convenient and conducive to you in this kind of market. Could they go the quickest? Okay, it just depends on what the terms and the conditions are. Go ahead, my brother LaJuan.
Right. So one person put in there, do you teach how to manage risk? And of course, managing risk happens in the inception of the project. Okay, if you have, like I was talking about with Lean Sigma, there's a discipline called Lean Sigma, and in Lean Sigma, it's a manufacturing technique, but you can apply this in real estate. You can apply this in any project. Okay, it's called statistical process control. An example of that is let's say my sons, they like Legos, right? So when they're opening the bags for Legos, I tell them don't open every bag, because the bags have numbers on them. Bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3. Okay, we don't open them all at one time. Just open bag number 1. When you open up bag number 1, all of the pieces that are alike, you put them in pile number 1. Okay, all the pieces, the second piece that are alike. If there's 4 of them, put it in pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, pile number 5. Then you open the instructions. Once you open the instructions, now it's easy to find what you need in order to have a successful project, in order that you may save on time, okay? Because timing is everything if you're in construction, if you're in real estate. With the planning part of your project, of your real estate venture, you can manage the risk. Some people do a financial model with the expenses of the property, potential rent, potential increase in market values, everything all in one. If you was to actually do a financial model on the property and submit it to a hard money lender, they will probably give you the loan, because they see everything in front of them. 3 exit strategies, all the income, expenses, potential market values, everything that's to take place in that property. Numbers. It's about the numbers. If we don't think more in the planning phase, which is the beginning, because there's a discipline also in construction project management called engineering, architecture, and construction life cycle. And in the life cycle, there's about 6 phases, starting with planning. Number 2 is design, conceptual designs. Number 3 is preliminary designs. After preliminary designs, there is procurement of contractors. So that's the place where that's the phase where you're hiring your contractors. Who can do the work? If you hire a company that is specialized in building subways, and you're building a bridge, you have a contract to build a bridge as a construction manager, you're making the wrong decision by choosing the wrong contractor to actually do the job. So in that phase, that's where you're weeding out who is going to actually deliver the construction of the project. After that, you have contracts, and then, you know, operations, maintenance, so on and so forth. And then you're at the end of the life cycle. If you don't have phases, have order, statistical process control, you're actually keeping things organized so that you can manage risk better. But in the beginning, you can alleviate so many different things. When you have conceptual designs, you can spend time there. Spend time there so that you won't be in a place where you're making changes and you're already at the construction phase. If you're at the construction phase, all you want to do is actually deliver the designs. Okay, so I'm speaking about this just so people could have just a snippet of what it takes to have a successful and fully integrated project delivery. Okay, so when you're buying real estate, you can apply this to every type of investment in real estate: planning, designs, you know, procurement, you know, operations and maintenance, construction, operation and maintenance. You have to have order. You can't just go out and say, I'm just buy a house. You know what I mean? I can, you know, my mortgage probably be about $1,200. You know, if I can get a tenant in there, you know, pay me $1,400, I'm good. You know, we're just making that $200. No, you're not good, because there's more expenses monthly and quarterly that you're going to have to take in, and you have to account for emergencies. Okay, if you don't have carryover costs for tenants, if in between tenants, you know, or when tenants are not paying, you know, you could have situations like that. You got to be able to account for that. So that goes with your planning. Of course, screening the tenant, make sure they're going to pay, but you never know what could happen with them. You know, they can lose someone in their family. They can lose their job. You know, things happen, emergencies happen. And if you just go on month to month and you got a mortgage of $1,200, you're only getting $1,400, then guess what? You might find yourself in the bond. That's why you have to be better at buying the house in order to resell it, okay, in order to rent it. If you have a rental strategy, have the best rental strategy. That's why we're talking about luxury apartments. That's why I talk about condominiums being actually the best as far as the cap rates are concerned. You know, all you have to do is do the numbers. Do the numbers. It's just as simple as that. Just buying a house just to buy it is not good, you know. And that's what the brother was driving home, and it was very good dissertation of what we can do, you know, if we just change our perspective and buying houses and things of that nature. You know, on those HDTV programs, they don't always know what to do. They're not always teaching exactly what to do. You say, what about Section 8? Section 8 is a federal program. Okay, Section 8 is a federal program, and people have it. Sometimes they don't take care of your property. Okay, so on and so forth. If you're smart, you take from 7 to 12% of your rental income and give it to a property management company. The property management company could take care of all of the things that the property needs. You know, they'll take in the rent. You know, if you have more than about 10 properties, the expense for that will go be a lot lower, but you won't have to go get up, you know, to go shovel snow, rake leaves, take out garbage, things like that. You have a property management company that'll take care of all those things and the repairs that need to be done if it takes place, if you need that. But real estate is not emotional. And people just think, you know what, I've made it if I bought me a house, I have a nice car, and I have a nice job, you know, so on and so forth. No, that's not, you know, that's not always the best play. That's not always the best move, or the American dream type thing, you know, where, oh, I have a house. No, sometimes, you know, it could be the same thing, because like I was saying before, with buying a house you're buying a house in tenancy. Okay, either you're a joint tenant, your tenants in common, but tenancy speaks to possession. and not ownership or control, or true fee simple ownership and control of the property. That's why you have to be knowledgeable about secure transactions, be knowledgeable about the Crown Doctrine, be be knowledgeable about what actually needs to be done in order to make this a successful venture. Good, P.
I love it. Got to thank you again. Of course, if you need to touch base with us, it's Brother Polight, POLIGHT, 45@gmail.com. Be prepared for class tomorrow, family, 12 noon. 12 noon, we'll send you the link. Tonight, some of you will get it very early in the morning. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to get it. We're going to have a powerful class, and if you miss 12 noon live, give us some hours in between, and you'll have your class for recording available to you for 24 hours. You'll have it available to you for 24 hours. It's going to go down. Make sure it happen. Go ahead, brother.
Or somebody was asking a question. What about the tax deed? If you can, tax deeds are wonderful investments. Of course, you have to do your due diligence on the area. You have to make sure that the property is a buildable lot. There are many nuances. Sometimes it's not a free and clear sale, and even if it is titled as a free and clear sale, you still should get title work done. Make sure that that you don't have any surprises when you buy the tax deed. You buy the tax deed, you can have a lot of surprises no matter what. And then, the county is not always liable. But if you do your due diligence, you can win. Okay. It's a very lucrative place. The only thing you have to do is make sure that you account for maybe $1,200 to $1,500 paying a lawyer to do a quiet title action or title service to make your title marketable. Okay, because you can't transfer the property into someone that needs to get a mortgage for it if you don't have marketable title. They won't be able to get the insurance. All right, so tax deeds are definitely a great investment because it's the amount of taxes that a homeowner purportedly owes, and they sell it at an auction, and you can walk out of there with a property, starting at $50. Some people lose properties for very, very little, but you have to do your research and know exactly what's taking place here. What about renting with options to buy? Yeah, that's good. Most of the time that takes place with commercial properties. You have a business, they give you, they rent to you with an option to buy. Not all the time is it with houses, but sometimes it is with houses and new communities that's being brought up because the developer or the owner can't sell the properties because the market is bad. They'll do a rent with an option. That's most of the time that's what happens. So it's a good way to negotiate with the owner, so on and so forth. Rent with an option to buy is definitely something you should consider if you have real troubles, with credit or anything like that. But credit troubles are not, they can be handled very easily. Very, very easily. If you have credit issues, give us a call. We have a plan for that also. Especially if your status is corrected, because I have something specifically for those who have their status corrected. Go ahead, P. East option. What's good, fam, from Jersey?
Yes. So, Brother Lawan, what we want to ask you about is, I want to buy, someone comes to you and says, I want to buy a house, I want to sell it. What's the first thing you tell them? What's the first thing you ask them? I want to buy the house, I want to sell it. This is where some people actually start. How do you structure that person's drive? What do you tell them they need to do first? I want to buy a house, I want to sell it. You say,
Right.
well, any house, I just want to start buying houses and I want to sell it. This is where we at. How do we put this into perspective?
Well, someone says, I want to buy a house, I want to sell it. First, we have to look at the market conditions to see if people are actually buying in that neighborhood. And then I say, you know, well, how's your credit? Are you working? Because most of the time when you're getting a mortgage, you know, you have to be on your job for about 2 years in order to get a FHA loan. If the person has cash, you just got to settlement, whatever, you know, or, you know, they've made money in the markets or anything like that. I would, you know, tell them how to buy from a tax deed auction, you know, sheriff sale, any type of foreclosure market. Just show them how to do the due diligence and get the best deal. You know, depending on where they are, you know, what market they're in. You know, I'll have a structured plan for that market because every market is different. You know, sometimes you have a high activity, you know, guns, drugs. You know, I grew up in that, you know what I mean? So it wasn't always the best sell for getting a mortgage and tenants and things like that, because the tenants, you probably sometimes they're scared to live in the area that you bought the house in, you know, and I bought houses in bad areas, you know, so it was hard to rent. You know, so I went through those growing pains, and you know, it was. I'm happy I went through it. You know, but it taught me a lot. You know, so if someone wants to buy it, say, yo, I want to buy a house and I want to sell it. You know, I'll just, you know, probe them, who, what, when, where, why. I want to know, you know, everything. I want to know what they know about real estate. You know, because sometimes. If I'm dealing with a novice, you know what I mean, I have to, you know, teach them from the ground up, you know, then I'll speak to them, you know, in a certain way. With someone that has, you know, tried or whatever and say, you know, I want to get back into buying houses and selling, what's the best way for me to do it? You know, then I know where that person is coming from, you know, and then, you know, I'll give them a plan, you know, based on the area, because you don't even have to live in the area to buy there. So I bought houses, you know, all over. You know, you fly into town, or you know, you can have a realtor do all the work for you. The realtors, they want to do the work for you. You don't have to pay them up front. They'll be happy if you list with them. You know, so they're always looking for new listings, you know, so if them doing a comparative market analysis for you, that's a lead to them. You're a very good source, you know, because you're the property that you buy, they're going to do their best to convince you to list with them, you know, so use the realtors, you know, call them where they are, you know, if you're living in Atlanta and you want to buy in California, first two calls you should make is to an attorney and to a real estate agent, you know, just to find out the market conditions, what's going on there, you know, how are things progressing? Are there any multifamilies? Are there any condominiums? What is the market? What are people looking for? Loft apartments? What are they looking for? You know, so you want to know what the buyers are looking for in that area, you know, so go ahead. You on mute, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Brother,
Oh, yes.
someone said, TD or T-Duck415 said, polite, keep mind of the company you keep, bro. Talking stats correction is not a good look. Now, let's explain this. You got to watch the previous show. This will not be a rant, but I want this person to listen carefully, because he might have said that to be negative, or he might have said that in good intention because he's misinformed.
Yeah, I think that people have an idea of what things are. They just have the wrong perspective. We don't teach size correction. I don't even know what's being taught out there, but I believe that that people have this whole thing about, you know, a get out of jail free card, or, you know, get out of debt free card, or get, you know, and all of these other nuances that come along with it. You know, it's like this, the whole magic show and hocus pocus. I don't teach that. I teach investment strategy and status correction. You can't teach you can't even have your status corrected without talking about economics. The economic portion is the most important portion. In economics, there's either production, consumption, or the transfer of wealth. If anybody has ever had a conversation with me about status correction, I am always talking about the business component. I'm always asking them, what is it that you want to do in business? What is it that you want? Do you want to buy franchises? What do you want to do? You need your credit fix, you need this. I'll tell them how to apply the instruments to their investment strategy, to their economic strategy. In our folders is always investments, micro loan investment, tax lien investment, tax deed investments. I mean, like, what are people talking about? I think that someone has redefined.
That's right. And that's why I want TD Duck, who said he did it in love, and I'm not going to contradict that. So in love, I'm going to tell you that if you ask somebody what does status mean, or what is it synonymous with, you'll have to come to terms with the fact that etymologically, estate means status.
Yes, absolutely. We just talked about that in the last video, P.
So he might have missed that part. And I don't mean that to be facetious. I mean, like, he might have missed that part, because people get the narrative from all the people who work against what we teach. But always ask yourself, after people try to tear down our image, what do they present to you to build you up? Because if you were to ask those people for economic planning, Black people got to come together, put their money together. You know what I'm saying? We be spending too much money, you know what I mean? On a bunch of like non-African products, you know? We get the European all our money, you know what I mean? So we just got to put our money together and stop shopping with the white man. And then, you know, Black people be great again. That's how it sounds. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? In between. What I'm telling you is, when we deal with the land of the crown doctrine, that's actually the full length term that we've been had on everything that we teach. Land of the crown doctrine. It is very thorough. In there you had microloans. In there you had treasury direct accounts.
Yes.
In there you had tax lien funds. Okay, solo tax lien trust funds. Okay, some people had endowment funds. These were strategies, short term, mostly long term. Wealth building strategies, and the status that's being corrected. And anyone that's ever talked to me about status correction knows I'm always talking about real estate.
Yes.
Why? Because it's the estate that's being corrected. It is the estate is the status, and your paperwork construct is the person.
Yes, people don't even know. Like,
people think we're the people who are getting a correction in status. They think they're the organisms that's going to get corrected in status. No, the status correction, the only person that's part of a status correction is the company or the corporation or the trust. The trust is the person. Legally, that's what it means, person or legal person. And the correction takes place with the estate that gets retitled to, let me say it again, the correction takes place with that which you call the estate, because the estate is the status. So the status of the estate changes when it's retitled to the trust, and you execute the right of a perfected claim or employ some strategy that diffuses the presumption of the item sonance, diffuses or nullifies your default, by default, debtor disposition, diffuses the conditional interest that loaners or creditors or financial institutions impose upon you indirectly because of your lack of knowledge. And ignorance of the excuse is no law. So the presumption is legal if you didn't object to it. These are things you have to take into account, family. So the status correction has nothing to do with human beings per se. It has to do with persons, but persons void of a physical body called companies. We don't make these terms up. And then estate means status, and the state or the status changes when the estate becomes part of or retitled to the trust in this particular equation.
Yes.
And the crown is the estate, because that's what you're going to render the estate when you establish a perfected claim. It's going to be called a crown. So that renders on to it. Another element of status. We're talking about properties and companies, people. We're talking about properties and companies. We don't make these things up. Go to the dictionary, etymology, and you'll see.
That's right. That's very true. You know, I just wish people, and it's the thing too, you know, due diligence. I always talk about due diligence, like know what it is. You know, like what do you have, you know, in your status correction, Lawan, that differentiates you from the others? I would love that question. You understand what I mean? And maybe you'll be enlightened, you know, because a lot of people, you know, they're on the defensive. Okay, I'm teaching people how to be on the offensive, right? Because the game is not, well, you know, a lot of people disagree with me. They always say defense win games, but guess what? If the score is 0-0, they will still go to overtime. And they're not going to calculate rebounds. They're not going to calculate steals. You understand what I mean? We have to be on the offensive. We have to put points on the board. Okay, so I can't just be teaching you defense mechanism. Like, we could do classes on how to write a motion, you know, affidavits, you know, how to properly proceed yourself with paperwork and go to, you know, how to appeal a case up to the Supreme Court and all of that. But guess you don't make no money doing that.
Cost you money.
You know, it's going to cost you. Because filing fees is no joke. You understand? I can teach you how to get out of a parking ticket and all that other stuff, man. Oh, man, pay the parking ticket, man. You know, but when I'm teaching you about, you know, investment strategies and status correction, like, yo, in my status correction folder, there's also ways to invest in gold and silver, refinery accounts, vault accounts. You know, how to send the gold and silver that you got in your under your bed in the shoebox. You know, you can send that, you know, to a depository so that they can, you know, give an accounting of it, put it in an account, you know, and when the market goes up, if you sell, you make money. If you keep it in there and watch the market go up and down, you know, we were talking about silver the other day. It's very important. You know, buying silver. You know, even now it's at $16. You know, or when the last time I checked, it was $16. But I've also seen it at $30. I've seen, you know, and so on and so forth. Gold goes up and down. You know, it's a hedge against inflation, but an investment nonetheless.
That's right.
You know, that is what was in my status correction. The status correction, you know, the investment strategy is the most important for, and I saw what was missing. I saw what was missing in the paperwork. I said, how are people going to be creditors and they don't extend credit to anyone? So I put a way that they can invest in microloans.
That's right.
Companies that have a humanitarian effort in Africa. That is in my status correction. I mean, like, come on, man. You know, you want to help, you want to do this, you know, but it's just a lot of talk out there, man. You know, but
somebody says, no disrespect, but your EIN is your status correction. Laugh out loud. Now, I don't know what part he didn't understand where status is a state. EIN. EIN is an employee identification number. This is in place so the IRS can tax you. And that's the whole thing, you know what I mean? I got love for everyone. But I think that we should be careful with the information we take in, okay? And we should be thorough in our investigation. I'm willing to be tried and never denied and tried again. You understand? So the thing is that you get the books out. Tell me I'm wrong. Show me in the books when I'm wrong. You know, when it comes to estate planning. When it comes to what's better, LLC or trust, you know, well, challenge me on what I say, you know, about statistical process control. Challenge me, you know, due diligence on tax liens and tax deeds.
You know, do your due diligence. You know, I investigate. I investigate every little thing. Why not? Why not? It's just going to take me a couple of minutes, and we have the internet. You know, but investigate and see exactly what I am saying. When, you know, when I talk about offering documents, PPMs, you know, for a private equity fund, you know, I have a love for you guys, but I think that we should do our due diligence. You know more about the product, you know, before we invest. Why not? Look it up. You know, while you're talking to me or while you're texting me, you know, through the system, you can go on Google.
That's right.
You can go on Google and you can try me everything that I say. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. You come back on here and say, this is what I found out.
You know what's interesting, Lawan? We actually leave the videos up. The people who are doing the craziness in the community, I don't know where their videos are at, where they do the craziness, but they definitely do their craziness. Our videos are up for them to be cross-referenced, for people to rewind, for them to fast forward, for them to pause it, double check what we're saying, because we're that confident.
Mm-hmm.
We're that confident. And all you got to do is say, man, they be messing up. I'm not going here no more for no economic advice. And you live your life. But I tell you what, it's strategy coupled with knowledge and the sophistication thereof. And what makes it so sophisticated is being able to interconnect all these different facets of information as relates to real estate and do something with it. Because the information is several places, as many people like to say. But what do you do with it? If it was that easy, all of us would have houses and be selling them left and right. But when we teach it, there's certain ridicule. And I tell you why all the time. It's just not common information to be shared amongst Black people, by Black people, for Black people. Most times you get this kind of information, it comes from someone from another race. So you're not even conditioned to receive information from your own race. It's so out the norm. We're talking from the young age of preschool going into high school. You've had your fair share of teachers that were non-Black that had to educate you about very important things. Mm-hmm. So much so that I'm entirely too dark to communicate ideas to you that's outside of sports, music, and entertainment. It's just true. Nonetheless, we are here for you all. Brother Lawan, if we are looking to buy the house, because we're moving right along and it's all making sense, we're bringing it together. If we're looking to buy the house to sell it back, there's some scenarios out there. One scenario is, what is a short sale, first of all? Let's go there real quick. What's a short sale?
Okay, so
when is it necessary to employ a short sale? If it is.
When you buy a property and the market value is overinflated, which it was, overinflated houses meaning people bought at $300,000 market value and total assessment was $175,000. That overinflated. Okay. And when there's a market crash, okay, these people can't pay their mortgages and they cannot sell their houses at those prices anymore. Okay, you can't say you bought for $300,000 and there are properties that have sold in your area for $100,000, $120,000, but your house is $300,000 is going to take at least 8 to 10 more years for the market to catch up to your price. Okay, so what happens is the real estate agent says you can short sell your house, and the owner might say, well, what is that? Well, we can call the bank that's holding the note to your house and ask them or negotiate with them for a lower price based on market conditions. And there's a process by which an approval takes place for the house to be sold. All right, at the $100 or between $100 and $120,000 that the rest of the house are being sold for, so that the homeowner can be freed from that debt or from that headache. because the property, there's no way that you can benefit from it if it's at overinflated price of 300,000 and the marketplace is only doing in between $100,000 and $120,000. So it will behoove the bank to it's a non-active note. Okay, so they're going to want to do their best to make it active again. All right, they're not losing anything at all for giving you a short sale. So most of the time they do agree to the short sale. So it's actually something that should be done. And it's very prevalent now in today's market, even from a crash that happened, in 2009. It's still short sales that are taking place even right now today.
And so I want to bring the family here so they can understand what we mean. Because again, buying a house is one of the most ridiculous things you could ever do if you intend on just living in there. And I'm going to say it over and over until it hurts your head. Buying the house is one of the most ridiculous things you can ever do. And here's my question. Under any other circumstances, would you try to buy something you knew you couldn't afford from the time that someone was trying to sell it to you? Furthermore, would you try to buy it if you knew you couldn't afford it, not for 1 year, but you couldn't afford it for 30 years?
Right.
Let's be real. We would like to believe we're buying houses that we can afford. We just choose not to spend all our money on it right now. So we're just going to divvy it up and afford it year after year. But if we put it into proper context, the reason why you bought the house was because you couldn't afford it. Think about it. You bought the house because you couldn't afford it. But it made you just for the time you could be in there. You could have did something with yourself in between that time. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. I'm sorry, bro. Yes, you could definitely have did something more productive with yourself.
That's what I'm saying. So I want y'all to go into this with in beast mode. Let me share this with y'all. Just perspective. That's all I'm talking to you all about, perspective. Let's go into perspective. I love to just read dictionaries. I love to see what's going on. I love to see what's going on, right? So what we'll do, I'm going to see if I can make these things a little smaller so it can fit so we can see everything at the same time. Okay? And we're going to look at these definitions because these definitions are crucial. It's all about perspective. So we got the right perspective. We got the right approach. So the dictionary says right here that being rich is having a great deal of money or assets, right? Wealthy. So having a great deal of money or assets. All right. And we look up the word assets, a useful, valuable thing, person or quality. Look at that. A person could be an asset.
Yes.
Or quality. And then, we might go a step further and say the person as in what instrument you choose to use. But that's us in the semantic world now. So we'll move forward from that. But here's where I really want you to focus on. Poverty is the state of being extremely poor. I hate when you do those kind of definitions, but it's okay. And the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. So I say this because people buy houses and then get thrusted into poverty. In fact, the second you buy the house, you're thrusted into poverty because it's the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. Well, I know I signed up for an amount of money that I couldn't afford to pay until 30 years. I've thrusted myself into poverty because I have an insufficient amount of money from now till 30 years later. If you can't own it outright, the goal surely must be to have a turnaround on that money that exceeds the expectations of the debt or the loan that has been given to you. I hope people are walking with me. So it's the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. You had an insufficient amount of funds. That's why you bought the house, and that's why they approved you for it. Now you'll never be able to do much in most cases when it comes to most people because they didn't buy the house to make money, nor did they have strategy when they bought it in the first place to realize what? that the house was sold to you overpriced. Hyperinflation, family. The price of the property was already too high, and you didn't even realize that by the time 30 years comes by, you can't do nothing with it. Your children can't even sell it because it won't appraise for more money. It won't. It will be worth nothing. They sold it to you for an amount that will be worth nothing 10 years from now because it was overpriced when they sold it to you. I hope you're listening. So now you have wealth, which is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. What can we get from this? Judging by the definition of poverty and wealth, a lot of rich people are in a state of poverty. Think about it. Let's really talk about this. I'm coming back to you. Let's do this. Judging by the definition of poverty, judging by the definition of wealth, if poverty is the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount, okay? And it also says the renunciation of the right to individual ownership of property as part of a religious vow. That's interesting. But we'll have to talk about that another day. That's a very interesting definition. But the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. And then you have wealth is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. And by valuable, we mean what? That which is worth more than it appraises for when you acquired it. Think about it. So, wealthy people have a lot of items that they purchase that qualify them as rich, but not necessarily. Well, let me say this. Rich people have a lot of assets based on perception, but because they don't appraise for more, they themselves are in a state of poverty. Why? Because now we have to consider, because there's terminologies that's out there. Now we have to consider their cash equivalents. And all that really means is what items can be turned into liquid and how much liquid you already have. Okay, cash equivalents.
Yes.
Why is that important? Because we might realize that you only look like you're worth a lot of money, but you're worth far less when we start really looking to see, could we sell this over? If we were to sell everything you own, would you be worth more with it as a hard asset or less with it as liquid? You understand? Like if I own a company and it was time for me to sell my company and I bought my company for 50 grand, but I can sell it for 300 for the market value, then I can get 300 liquid. But if I bought a company and I put 100 grand into it, but if I sell it, I only can get 20 grand, that's the cash equivalent. So what I'm saying is, if you do the cash equivalent to everything you own, are you worth less in liquid or more in hard asset? Because if you're worth more in hard asset, that is an illusion. So if I live in a $200,000 house, what would be the cash equivalent if I sold it considering the market analysis? We would have to say, wow, I might be worth less. And then if I look at my car, that car is worth a lot of money. But if I sold the car, would I get less money than when I paid for the car? You feel me? So what is the purpose behind the things that we are purchasing? Because it stands to reason that wealthy people are impoverished too. They just don't see it, nor do many of us. A lot of us don't realize, pardon me, rich people are impoverished. A lot of us don't realize rich people are in a state of poverty because poverty is the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. And if the items that they possess don't appraise for more money than that time when they acquired it, it stands to reason the cash equivalents to those assets are worth less in liquid and appear to be worth more as a hard asset, then they too are in poverty. Just their illusion is set up way better than yours. So yeah, they're rich because they have a bunch of cars, and they're rich because they have real big houses. But all those things are valued at less dollars when we have to interpret them based on cash equivalents. So you have to now say, before I get into this house idea, what is the real meaning behind this house idea? It's about them selling you on the idea that your children can be in there, and you got a nice space, and you got a nice house, and this is what you deserve, and you can retire in this house. No, we should be thinking, I don't want to retire in this house. I want to give this house to my children. But do I want to give them something that'll be worth less? That they got to get rid of because it's costing them money if they do inherit it? See? Is it worth even giving over to the next generation? If it's worth giving over to the next generation, then by default, it's worth selling while you're alive. The two mean the same exact thing. Don't just buy a house because you buy it. First of all, do the research, because what you got to realize is almost every house you're interested in is already overpriced. Housing is the biggest hustle in America. It accommodates for number one in its gross domestic product. And the monies they make the most from in America from real estate, 1/3 of their GDP. The bulk of that 1/3 that makes up their gross domestic product, and by gross domestic product, all we merely mean is this is where they make their revenue from to keep the nation going, to keep their company going, to keep their corporation going. Out of that 1/3 of everything that America makes in the form of real estate, the bulk of that 1/3 comes from people going into default, comes from people going bankrupt, comes from people having foreclosures. The bulk of their money is all tied up in insurance from people who fail to make payments. So the name of the game is to make sure you are sold something that people cannot afford. You're sold something that you personally can't afford. And they've looked at the metrics. They've conducted their analysis. This is what the subprime crisis is all about. They already made sure you couldn't afford what you were looking to possess. They saw what your mother did economically. They saw what your father did economically. They see their level of schooling. They see your level of schooling. They look at their credit scores. They look at your credit scores. They look at the neighborhood you lived in and for how long you lived in. They look at your job history, and they can make a determination about the type of decisions you make. In fact, credit bureaus spend money, or I should say this, credit bureaus are in contract with social media mediums. And guess what? Many of you don't realize you're messing up your credit scores by the things that you post and the things that you look at day to day. Do the research. Maybe I'll take some time out and do a class on how perusing through social media can affect your credit score. You know why? They want to see what type of things you invest in, so they can know if you're a reckless spender. So they got contracts with Facebook, contracts with Instagram, contracts with YouTube to see what type of things are you interested in. These titles actually can contribute to a better credit score. I know this sounds crazy. I'm not making this up. And if you don't believe me, just type in, can going on social media affect my credit score? I don't know. Just type it in. You'll find something, and then look for something else. And then you'll say, what the hell? So all them twerking videos probably got my shit at 400. Yo, but listen. All jokes aside, though. You think these people are not strategic in the way that they approach marketing? They take the time out to see what kind of uneducated consumer you are. Yo, the mics just came out. And guess what they also do? They find out what zip code you from. And then they ask themselves, why are you buying $200 sneakers if you live in this area where your rent is most likely part of this average? You're not going to come out of that situation if this is what you're constantly looking at, things that don't appraise for more money than the time you purchased it. It doesn't appraise for more money after the time you purchase it. So why is this person looking at things that will quickly put them into debt? I couldn't sit here and make this up.
Yes.
They took the time out to go into contract with people to see what they think.
Right. There's a book on it called Big Data.
Mm.
You know, they know when your girl is pregnant before you do, or before she does. You know, just by searches, just by filter bubbles that's you know, that collect data all day long on you.
You think it's a coincidence that if you were to refresh your YouTube channel right now, a commercial will come on about real estate?
Word.
You think that's a coincidence? And if you refresh it again, it'll be about real estate. And if you refresh it again, it'll be a different commercial about real estate. Did they get it right 3 times in a row?
Hmm.
Or do they got some technology in here to make sure they can increase the opportunity of the sale? They even got something called the Internet of Things, IT. It's a whole nother form of intelligence in the internet. Watch this. You can go to purchase an airline ticket. Think about it, family. You go to purchase an airline ticket. The ticket is $430. You say, you know what? I'm going to check other places out. You go back, and that 400 and change is now 510. You go, what the hell? But you say, you know what? Hold on. Maybe I can find it somewhere else for at least around the cheaper price I saw. You go back, and the 510 is now 530. You say, you know, I just got to buy this now because this is getting out of control. But it don't look like that on nobody else's computer because they have dealt with the law of average. Chances are this person is going to come back because we got a pretty decent price. So when they come back and they see our price again, they're more likely buy the second time around in fear that the price is going to go back up. This is a whole nother form of intelligence embedded into these operating systems that are responsive to it, messing with your brain, thinking the prices is going up. I just buy this right now. And it happens very subtly, very subtle. It's called the Internet of Things. They spend billions and billions of dollars on marketing to tap into the mind of the consumer. And we're looking to break the bondage. Because you sit here and you get the spirit like, yo, I was just thinking about that. Listen, if you go on your phone right now and you watch this stream right now and you close out your YouTube window and you watch the stream right on your phone right now, when you turn your phone off and you go to your computer, the stream will start right where you left off on your phone when you turned it off. I swear to you, this is true. Because when I'm studying these things, I'm applying it like, yo, what the freak? It continues conveniently without you even realizing, oh, yeah, that's just where I was. What coincidence? People are crazy. Like, this is not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? This is scary. So I'm telling y'all, the decision you make to buy the house and the way you feel about finally getting your house, you've already been set up because they put the nice commercials in and everything. And it's very ugly how they do what they do to us, man. It's very ugly. You feel me? And y'all just got to understand. This is a very, very, very trying task to teach our people this kind of information. And the reason why it's so trying is because where the conspiracy is, we don't go to. Where it is not, we look for it. That's why it's a trying task. You feel me? Wake up, watch this.
And he needs
I'm
that
gonna show y'all
because
something
he was
crazy.
being
You know, I'm gonna
not
show
better,
you.
but
I'm gonna show you how deep this stuff gets. Just so y'all don't think I'm tripping or I'm paranoid. You know, watch this. They not playing games with us, man. They are beasts when it comes to this marketing stuff. So I'm gonna just randomly go on my channels. Look, 12 dividend stocks. What's a coincidence they talking about dividend stocks on our Trust UCC investing? Look, tax deed investing costs. Selling it while we selling ours. Look at these motherfuckers. Look at that. They are not playing. Okay? They are not playing with this. Okay? They see what we talking about, and that's what they're going to be on. You know, I spoke a little bit about the health costs. Not a coincidence. I'm going to refresh it again. Home insurance. You know, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. You feel me? It's just not going to stop. And then, you know, anywhere where we talking that talk, believe me, family, they're going to embed it into the whole situation. If you watch the Scientology video, Scientology commercial comes up. You see me going after them, and then you see them selling it right on the same channel. That's why I don't always deal with this monetization business, because it's a smack in the face. You're trying to uplift your people, and then they right there selling their product. And I'm creating a competition amongst my own conversation. That's why I told people I'm not really down with all of that. I don't like the energy behind it. All right. So let's look at this. Let's go to another one. Let's see how to buy a property as a secured party creditor. Let's see what kind of commercials they got. Okay, website do you sell? I don't know why that's there, but let's see. How good is your lawyer? That's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? To get us out of going to court, we do the secure party creditor situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. You know, just look at all the different things that, look, injury lawyer. You feel me? And this is during a time where what? Polite gets abused by police. Look at these people over here. New law makes flipping houses illegal. Look at all this. It's just saturated with everything that we're talking about. Lawyer. So you see, this is what we're talking to y'all about, man. These things are no coincidences, man. They're no coincidences. The technology is set up in such a way that once you finish up with your class, they will integrate whatever themes that you was discussing with what it can guarantee the people who paid their money for to sell. Look at this.
This is where everything dried up.
We simply didn't know what we were really getting ourselves into.
We need financial help to finish the project. I need $312,000.
$3.2 million.
$215,000. We need money, but we need your expertise as well.
Mentor.
So now they breaking down property
Somehow,
and the deeds. You know what I'm saying? And rehabbing the property and all that. So you see, this is not a coincidence, my brothers and sisters. It's real. It's very real. And while we over here sleeping, not realizing, you know what? They are on top of their marketing. They are on top of trying to take your mind. These companies are spending billions of dollars to see who can own your mind more than the other company. Because your mind is partitioned amongst the sneakers, and then every now and then you want to be responsible and have a house. Got them again. So I'm totally against people buying houses. If they're buying it with no intention to be a serious entrepreneur. I'm against them if they buy the house and they want to buy it in their own name. I am so against that. And what I say, I sound crazy. I sound foolish because I'm against the matrix. I'm against the whole system. But remember, it's the people in the suits that are truly the ones trying to free us from the matrix, not Neo. I was blessed to have the conversation with Miss Sophia. So, you know what I'm saying? The sister that created the Matrix put me on to game and how they put a couple things up and where Black people's position was really supposed to be. So I'm telling you, I sit here and tell you, the hell with buying a house. That's a big hustle. And people say, man, he ain't go to school for that. What the hell does he know? I know enough to know that if I don't have the money now, I definitely ain't going to have it 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? If I don't got the money right now and I agree to pay this money out for 30 years, then that means I don't have the money. I got a foresight that I'm not going to have the money for 30 years. That's what I believe. If I sign an agreement to pay you for 30 years, I've already forecasted. I myself don't got the money for 30 years.
But it keeps you.
I'm not going to pay nothing for no 30 years. That's just entirely too long to be paying anything for what? Give me something cheaper. Or don't give it to me at all.
Yeah. It keeps you in the workforce for 30 years. You understand what I mean?
That's
Working.
why they talk about retirement every time they talk about property ownership.
Yes.
Go ahead, brother. It's just crazy. They talk to you about retirement whenever they talk to you about buying a property, because they know that you are pledging to pay this money until you die, and that's what the word mortgage means. A pledge.
Right. It produces good employees. You understand? Like a person that has a mortgage, right? And a job. When a job looks at him or his character, who he is, and he says he owns a house or whatever, or they'll do whatever they can to push you to buy a house, that means you're going to be a good standing employee for 30 years if you're smart. You know, and I mean, if that's your perspective, let me say that, and not if you're smart. If that is your way of achieving the American dream, then you will do your best to keep your job to pay for that house. Okay. And I mean, when you're buying a house to resell it, there are many ways to buy. There are many ways to make money. A lot of people that don't have money, I tell them wholesaling property is the way to go. Okay. If you're going to wholesale property, it's done, I mean, by agreements and assignments. If you have, I have a one-page contract. I don't know a lot of people, you know, if they're what they're using, but you get you a one-page contract assignment. You know, a ready, willing, and able seller, and you bring them together with the buyer. But if the seller is selling at one price and you have the market value as more than 30 to 50% or 60, 70% more than what the property is being sold for, you can make a great deal of money, and you can offer to pay the expenses that's involved with the deal in order to sweeten the deal for the buyer and the seller, so on and so forth. But wholesaling is actually a really good way to purchase properties, or not purchase properties, to make money in real estate. Okay, without the hindrance of owning properties with mortgage. And then, you know, you do a couple of years, a couple of deals in a year, you can have the cash that you need to buy the properties, or go to the auctions and buy properties cash, and you can really jumpstart your career in real estate that way, just by wholesaling. And there's a whole science to doing it. Right now, I'm not doing it any justice, but the crux of wholesaling is buying a property at a low price. You contract with the seller to buy the property, and you assign the contract to someone else for more than what you're buying it for. So you're buying it for $100,000 and the property goes for $200,000. Your buyer is buying at $200,000, but you're buying from the owner at $100,000. Okay, and you make what is the excess, and that's actually a really good way to make money in real estate. The biggest part is finding leads.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And so
I only said that because there was a brother in the chat that was talking about wholesaling, and maybe people wanted to hear more about it, or is it good? Yeah, it's actually very good to do it.
Tell me something as we close out. I need to research the property, because Brother Polite was talking to us about how the property is already overpriced by the time it's being sold to me. How does one go about doing research? Because they want to get into the real estate paradigm as far as selling the properties. But first they have to acquire the properties. So what does one do? Where does one go to conduct research? What are you looking to research that will help you definitively conclude that this is a property befitting to my interests and my specific needs?
Well, I believe that a due diligence class should be done. And in one setting, like right now when we're about to end, I can't give of the that it's a body of work. due diligence and rating neighborhoods and knowing what to look for and what websites to go to, how much to pay, for title work or for any type of history on a property. There are websites that you can go to. Let me see if I can put this one in the other day. It wasn't letting me put any websites in the chat. So people, because I like the question, and what I want to do is just put the website right on the chat. All right, so now I have to. It's called NETRONLINE.com. You can go right to that website and get let me see if I can put it in here another way. At like maybe $10 a record. What I'm gonna do is put due diligence, and then I'm gonna put. It still didn't go. Like, what's up with that?
What's that?
I can't put a web address in the chat.
Yeah, it would sound like that so people don't impose on my space. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to put a due diligence website up so people could just.
Give me the name of it. I'll put it there. Or share your screen.
How?
Go to the upper left-hand corner. The second button down is green. It'll say screen share when you put your cursor over it. When it does, an option is going to come up for you to either cancel or share. You're going to press share. Go to the upper left-hand corner. You'll see a blue box to the upper left. You're going to go down one. Click that green box with the arrow pointing to the right.
Now, I know you got Macs in there. You talk about where the Apple is or on the actual Safari? Oh, you're on Google Chrome. You're on Google Chrome?
The screen that says Google Hangouts. This screen right here.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, good.
Go to the second button down.
Okay.
Upper left-hand corner is green.
Right.
It says screen share.
All right.
And then once you push share, I'll confirm that we see your desktop. So if you got any funny business going on, just know.
Oh boy, no.
I know you're a good man, but I'm gonna get blamed for it.
All right. You are screen sharing. Oh, okay. All right. This is the website.
Okay, let me see. Let's see if I see it as well. Yeah, I see it. There we go. And what's this website? What does this website entail? Talk to us.
Right, you can get environmental data. You don't need that. Public Records Online, Property Data Store. Click on Property Data Store, and it'll give you a comparable properties report for $5. Document images, index search, parcel maps, property detail report for $3.50. Transfer detail report that from one owner to the next. You can get that report for $5. Each property that you have, all you got to do is sign up. Signing up is free. You can create an account up here, and you log in. It's going to ask you which state you want to go into. Let's say New Jersey. You select the county. Bergen County is really right. Select the product. Now, what do you want to do? I want a property detail report. Click next. All right, property detail, address, zip, APN, which is same thing, parcel number, so on and so forth. You are currently searching for. I'm not logged in right now. There are methods you can, but this is the site. We can start here. You get a lot of real estate information for every state. Every state. And you don't, I mean, you would have to pay per record. You don't have to pay a monthly fee. That's why I spoke about this site right here, Netter Online, NETR
I know y'all hear that word Netter. Don't play around. I know y'all feeling that. I know you're feeling it. It's all in our face no matter where we go. Drive a Rolls Royce, you're going to see that they're using the Bayonet symbol. You're watching your TV, they're using the all-seeing eye. Go up your real estate to do your research, and there goes Netter. Y'all see what it is. It ain't me. It's them. It's us. It's humanity. We can't escape it. I'm putting my email in the chat room. I know if you are feeling the information, please type in 9. Press 9 if you're feeling the information. Press 9 if you know that this has been yet another successful class online. Press the number 9 in the chat if you know this is valuable data, because he's showing you where to start. And just imagine what you're going to get tomorrow. For those of you that signed in for class, thanks a lot for the 9s and appreciation for our brother Lawan. You know, we come with the goods. We come with the goods.
Yes.
Those 9s, man. Thank y'all for being so very appreciative, because I'm telling you, people charge for this stuff. We did over 2 hours tonight and gave you perspective, new vocabulary, words and terms, strategies, and places you can go to get the data. That's our checklist. We make sure we can do this every time we get on a show. We got to show them something they most likely didn't know where to go. And we got to give them perspective they never had. Like the heck with buying a house. It's the biggest scheme they got out there. You see, that's perspective. What? And then we expound on it later. You feel me? So, incredible. And if you really appreciate it, do yourself a favor and get the accelerated courses, because you do learn a lot. I'm sure if you took the last 3 videos, you know what I'm saying, or the last 4, you probably could concoct some kind of movement of your own and go out there and go wild. You know what I'm saying? Because we got a lot of hours of information that we managed to put up. We got over 12 hours of information consecutively that we put up, where you know where to go, what to do, how to do it. And it's so much information, we had to combine them, but we really are going to condense it and really just focus on one thing. Like he says, due diligence. We're going to have a due diligence course. And guess what we'll still do? Give you a due diligence class free. Long and free. No one gives free 2-hour-plus classes for the selling class. Like the information is so scarce, they can't give you 2 hours and change to turn around and give you the selling class. No, we want to make sure when you come into the class that's being sold, that you come in with enough information so we don't have to make it remedial and waste your time. So you leave, you say, damn, I learned, but I still can't get off the ground. We don't want to make the information remedial. So we use the live streams as a medium to get you up to industry standard.
Yes.
So we can get you to the point of entrepreneur when you come to class. Man, and by the time we do the personal lecture, the direct lecture, or the private lectures, you guys are going to be already on the level.
Yes.
Those who are not, they probably going to be like, yo, how the hell everybody know this and I don't know it? Because you've been keeping up. And that's why I suggest to you all, share the video. When you're done, share it. Wake people up, because this is what we need to be into, because we all need to live somewhere. Yeah. So why not make money off of the condition that exists amongst humanity, which is living somewhere? Only thing is, you all are now more educated to understand what? Only thing is, you all are more educated now to understand that this whole house thing is a hustle. You're already able to understand all of that. We're not here trying to tell you, yo, buy this house, you know, live good for your family. No, it's a good idea to live good for your family, but the way you go about it, there's vipers out there trying to sell you the house that's overpriced. And it's against the market standard. But if you don't know, you don't know no better. All right, so let's take it from the top. BrotherPolite.com. For those asking in the chat, I am BrotherPolite.com. This is where you can get your books and your DVDs. Get your textbooks, get your DVDs, get your reading material. You need these books right here. Let's not play games. Trust me, you need to get that. Tax Lien on Steroids. It's on sale. It was a whole lot more when it first came out. Then books super heavy. Of course, the prerequisite would be Introduction to the Tax Lien Tax Deed. I would suggest it because when you get into this book right here, it was written for the person ready to put in pain. It's written for, not the neophyte. The book I put out is for the neophyte. And not only is it for the neophyte, you read this Introduction to the Tax Lien Tax Deed book, you're on deck. Because in the Tax Lien Tax Deed book and the Buy the House Sign the Contract book, what you're going to realize is I got templates in there and I got worksheets in there. Okay, we're showing you how to fill things out. Same as this, worksheets in here. These are for millionaires. Q&A in here, worksheets in here, templates in here. The books are designed to educate, family. Trust me. The book. That's what I'm talking about. Trust me. And then you have, and that's all about trust. So, of course, there's other books. Of course, Killing with Paperwork. That's learning how to file your own lawsuits and draw out affidavits, especially to protect your children, dealing with child support, different things like that. You want to get this book. This is like the Bible, all right, for what they call sovereignty, head of the crown. Many people, our members call it the Sovereign Bible. I need to actually put it there. Oh, I do got it there. Head of the crown, Sovereign Bible. The members named it the Sovereign Bible. So much so I put it in scriptural form and everything when I revised it. Very powerful book. Here's another book with instruments in there, instrument templates, discussions, things. And the books are in color, so you actually know what the designations are as far as the education is concerned. So the pages are in color. You got to get that. Of course, you see all the other books. We're working some things out. Still got more books we got to post up. This is a work in progress. Of course, we got our own language in Duasusu. It's a work in progress because there's books being put up every day that I've written as we're putting them back in print. We're back, we're running. Medic Arcana, the Hebrew Dialectic Subterfuge, Volume 2. Headbanger. Headbanger. Ridiculous. Thanks, Aminette, man. She designed some real powerful covers when she's going crazy, man. Conflict in Genes, Neutrinoids, and Genocide. Aminette be going wild. This actually made a magazine. She had to do an interview about the cover. She goes in. Rich Mom, Poor Mom, Finance a Fiance, How to Do Business with Your Mate. Here's another sleeper. Inequity or iniquity. Inequity or iniquity. Debt wealth or asset wealth.
Yes.
These are terms that should be common, but it's not. We're making it common in the community. And of course, can you outthink your oppressor? Blood is thicker than water. For you people that go into that redemption process and everything, this cleans it up. For the people that's into the nationality thing, this cleans up that conversation. Blood is thicker than water. We clean up the whole, if you need to get involved with the conversation and really get some understanding, blood is thicker than water is where it's at. And again, another amazing cover by Aminette. She goes hard. Look at this. The graphics is nuts. Okay, it's Blood is Thicker Than Water, Ag Nation, and the American Terra Firma. You know, I'm the man for the titles. She's the woman for the covers. So this is Blood is Thicker Than Water. That was my 76 book. And the subtitle is Ag Nation and the American Terra Firma. One of the best ones written yet to date. Okay, you need a book on nationality and sovereignty. This is the book you need to get your hands on so you can understand it in proper perspective without the fanaticism. And of course, you need to see those DVDs. Service-wise, you're gonna go here, $100 for the 4-class package. The first class starts tomorrow at 12 noon. 12 o'clock noon on Pacific Standard Time, PST. However, it's going to be, of course, 3 o'clock in the Eastern Time. All right. But if you can't make it during that time, don't worry. You will have instructions in your email that's going to let you know. You will not be at loss for the actual class. You're going to have the class. You're going to stream it live, and you're also going to have access to it. And we're going to give you that access to it for 24 hours. You guys are the best. All right. And of course, we got the consultations. You need to get a consultation. We're talking that you're really trying to build and make things happen. If you're not going to get your trust, you're not going to get your crown doctrine or your land of the crown doctrine. If you're not going to get those things together, then get the consultation so you can put it into perspective, because it's very difficult. You know the emails be off the hook. You know the phone numbers be off the hook. The only way to measure it out is to have the paid consultation so we can get the people who are very serious about getting it done in real time out the way. And then in between that, I find my time to talk to people and build with people, but I always tell them, yo, I got to talk for 5-7 minutes. Anyone that's talked to me on the phone, they know I do my best to talk to every member. And I'll be telling them all the time, yeah, I got to talk to you for 5 minutes. I just need you to know I got somebody on hold. Sometimes be having people on hold for a long time. I hate doing that. It makes me feel disrespectful. But it's so many people. When you run in a community and you're doing your best to talk to as much people as possible day to day, and then you also got the free class that you're doing later on. Never mind the fact I got a family, you know, that's consistent with wives and children that want to go to movies and go out to eat. I'm doing this. My daughters and them is ice skate. I'm knocked out from doing all sorts of website updates. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is grinding. And this is what I'm doing nonstop. I was in the studio. I had to go to the studio super late last night because I'm teaching during the day. I'm doing lectures during the day. I was supposed to see Minister Farrakhan today in person. I got people setting it up for me most likely tomorrow because I did this instead. You know, because I want to prep people for class tomorrow. I want to get people as prepared as possible. I want people to feel so confident when they come into class tomorrow that when I start going through the information, we can get off the remedial part and we can start tackling real strategic parts of the information. That's what I'm into. I'd say, yo, let me do one more class, a preparatory class, so we can get people together. So, of course, if you're interested in joining New Covenant, it's a $60 activation fee, $30 dues a month. And it goes, you can knock out your dues for the whole year, $300, and you wind up saving like $60. You save $60 if you knock out your dues for the month. Of course, we got Sovereign Affidavit of Nativity. This is recording the live birth of our children as a deed. You may say that's insane, but that's pretty much what they're doing with you, and worse. New Covenant's on some other level stuff. So if some of this stuff just like, what? I don't get it. Or these acronyms, just call us and talk to us. NC-SIP, New Covenant, Sovereign, Irrevocable Private Trust. Okay, NC-SIP. This is what you're going to deal with. And hopefully you're the lucky ones to get access to Brother Lawan for your planning. But there's other brothers and sisters that are very qualified in the community. However, and this is not to undermine everybody else, you want Lawan. He's going to be tough on you only because he's accurate. You need to get Lawan. You need to ask for Lawan. You get the trust, you need to ask for Brother Lawan. And he's going to sit there and really plan with you what you need to get done. So that's the trust. Don't waste your time, you know. And then for your UCC filings and things of that nature, you're going to want to get the Crown Doctrine. The Crown Doctrine normally is coupled with the trust. So depending on what you're doing, you're most likely going to need these two anyway, whether it's down the road or in real time. You got to keep this in mind. Okay? So all those things are very, very important to the task in front of us. And we're back. Brother Lawan, do you got anything else you want to share with the people before we close out? Very stellar show. Again, make sure you sign up for your classes, purchase those classes, get your textbooks. You're going to need it for next week, week after that, Week after that, definitely this Sunday.
Right. The one-page contract, and what I was telling him is that
Say it again because some of it was a little.
okay. One brother was asking about the one-page contract for real estate, and what I was telling him is that if you get the consultation, you get all the supporting material that you need for your venture. So the contract will come with it. You know, just pay for the consultation. You know, and we'll hash out a plan and flush out all of the things that we don't need. You know, so that we can properly execute. But get the consultation and we'll get it to you.
That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. So we're going to have a great time tomorrow, family in class. It's going to be so fun. Finally found a way to keep us connected. You know, because I missed the lecture, man. I was doing those seminars and private lectures in mansions. I remember I brought Luan out here. We had a nice class in a brother's mansion, private lecture. Remember that joint? In,
Yes, sir.
Sacramento. And then we went on the yacht, went to lunch right in his backyard.
Yeah, man. In his backyard, man. That blew my mind. That, you know, this was when we were.
You can go to France from there, man.
Yes. I'm like, yo, I gotta live like this.
Right, man. So when he has fish swimming through his walls. This is a fact, man. Brother doing it. And he put 30 years into real estate. And he invited us to teach a private class amongst several professionals about how to use insurance, purchase real estate. I remember it clear as day. Though it was like 2 years ago we did that one.
Powerful.
And from that we springboarded and met so many more people. You know, so people have no idea where we have been.
Yeah, you gotta let people know that it was lawyers in the class.
That's a fact. I mean,
lawyers in the class, you know, attending just to find out the knowledge.
And anybody part of the real estate matrix, they was in the building as far as different types of professionals, like lawyers. And we checked out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Checked out.
Wish I could get that tape, man.
That's an interesting piece of footage because technology has changed so much since that time.
Right.
It's an interesting piece of footage. You might not like it. If you remember, the lighting wasn't all that good in there either.
Right.
And I never wanted to represent us like that. But dang,
wow,
you so classic, man. And I mean, that's where you got one of those computers up in there that I think that trip, if I'm not mistaken, that iMac.
Oh yeah. I'm that's what I'm doing the Google Hangout on that computer. Yep.
No doubt. The one I copped that time is right behind me.
Yeah. Yes, sir, man.
Right there, man. So it's so funny that I just went back 2 years and realized the love and appreciation that we got.
Yes.
And I ain't gonna front. They spoiled us in the right way because we started dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? The money was right.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to come back. We had to really strategically plan this return.
Yes.
And so I hope people really understand. I'm not saying none of this to gas you up because what we said the past 3 hours speaks for itself, and what we said the past 12 hours speaks for itself, and what we've done for the past several years speaks for itself. What has been written speaks for itself. What has been documented and recorded and now solicited speaks for itself. And what I will do tomorrow will speak for itself. We don't have to make these things up. We've been a lot of places, family, and we work with a lot of prominent figures that when these prominent figures are happy for the work that's been done,
yes,
it's good. You know, remember how I got one of my first luxury cars, brother? A good class, and I got it as a gift. Pick one. Pick whatever one you want.
Yep.
Like, yeah, Freak out of here. You know, I'm being humble. I'll take that luxury car. Cool. Damn, I should have went for a higher luxury car. I was like, yo, word. Oh, one of my first joints was from teaching. So when they say, why you moved to Cali? I got nothing but love when I came to Cali. I got treated the way I felt was long overdue. And by Black people that are doing great. And success rubs off on you. And from there, I was, with that economic freedom, I was given more creative power and will and time so I can create more work under better condition. I realized I was creating work under stress. The material changed. When I got some freedom and I didn't have to, let me run out this house and make sure I get this bread. I was able to say, you know what? I wrote a book, most of the book by a jacuzzi. You know what I'm saying? Like every day, just religion, like working on this book. And the sensation was so powerful. That's why when people read my books, they know it's me. They know it's me.
Right.
And you know, I'm in a different space because the way I'm writing, because I'm not stressed out. So I can give you the best version of myself when I write. Because I'm living in the moment. You feel me? You get to read my mind in the moment. Yes. Not someone trying to guinea pig you and try you. And then my world is based in and rooted in the idea that I gotta share that moment with you to the best of my ability. So I do it through education. And this is why while my children and everybody's out running around doing what they do.
Yes.
And they license to do it. We over here doing this.
Right.
Yeah, the money's good. But I'm telling you, there's things that we do that, you know, people look at me and they be like, man, Brother Polite, you do a lot for the community. They don't realize.
Yes.
They don't realize these free classes you're doing because they be on it. Like, not to cheat. Like, you know what? I'm paying most.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
they on it. They on
radio. Yo, I found my information some places. You know what I mean? You know, the radio classes, they helped a lot of people. You know, people was building their whole websites on the information that we was teaching.
And when we fell back, the whole situation shut down. We was so, they built a whole career. No, this is the way to do it. No, this is the way to do it. Polite boys, they don't know what they talking about. We go on a hiatus because we getting paid. Then they shut down. So you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna pop up too.
Yep.
Because for every genre of information I teach, it doesn't matter if it's even the Zodiac, brother. There's always some people who pop up and create a brand out of talking about me. You know, they do this all the time, brother. They do it all the time. The only reason it hasn't happened as much as far as specifics is concerned, like when we debate theology, there's a lot of videos go up and people show you their references for why they got their ideas. But this is a lot difficult. It's a lot more difficult because we'll lose them on the term hypothecation. We'll lose them on amelioration and restitution. Like we'll lose them, you know?
Right.
We'll start talking about admiralty and things of that nature. They wouldn't even dare come on a platform and talk to us.
Oh no.
They're gonna come in and just be a caller to ask some questions. Because I'm gonna tell you, it gets ugly at that point.
Yeah.
It'll get ugly because it's very easy to tell you or show people who doesn't know what they're talking about. Like you only read a few pages in the book, committed some of the words to memory. I can tell. You say weird stuff. Yes, we are. We're the only people, unless somebody can write it in the chat right now. Mm-hmm. Tell me somebody who told you that status and estate were the same word. Tell me somebody who told you that property is rendered a crown to establish a perfected claim. Tell me somebody who told you the word or terminology perfected claim. So when we say, what do it mean to be sovereign? Oh, to own your property without a condition. And it's the property of crown. And who has a crown is the king or the queen.
Yes.
Tell me somebody.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Tell me somebody other than us. Right. So we don't sound nothing like other people, but other people endeavor to sound like us. Because when you're creating media out of someone else's media, you have to also create controversy to establish the contrast.
Right. These people, they talk sovereignty, right? But no sovereign is a sovereign without a castle, without a kingdom, without producing a marketplace, better known as the staple. They don't have a marketplace. You know, but why? How can you teach this doctrine without teaching about property, estate, status, state conditions, state? You don't teach it without property. I don't know where they're getting it from, but this whole thing, you know, it just blows my mind, and it's not intelligent at all, you know. And I don't want people to get us mixed up with that.
Right.
You know, we're not a part of that. I don't even know what that is. Like, yo, I can't go to my wife and kids and show them, are we gonna get free through this paperwork? Now, I mean, like, come on. There got to be a next step. There has to be property. It has to be business. There has to be more than just fighting with the government over a $30 parking ticket. Come on.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I mean, they don't address anything, man. You know, you got these people, man, talking about, oh, man, it's about nationality. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But if I'm going to change my name, I would want to change my social security number with that. Why not? Is that a part of the doctrine? No.
No,
I don't want to go there, man, because I don't even want. You know what? Let's just end it.
why not?
Let's just end it, man, because I'm going to just start talking about how you going to call yourself internationality. You don't have no trade agreements with no one, not even your next door neighbor. Because nations, they trade. You know, they trade goods. You know, they're about the economic part of being a nation. Who actually, man, let's go. I gotta go.
We might have to do that. We have to decode this so-called redemption process, because people try to associate me with that stuff, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. What are you talking about? I don't got time to teach people about things that tells them they got billions of dollars in bonds. Turn it into who? You know, I got $1 million lien on the White House. Why are you putting a lien on the White House? What does that serve you? Like, why, bro? Why are you going that far?
Let's not do it. Let's not do it, man. Oh my goodness, man. Let's not do it.
You know, guys, I just put a lien on the White House. I just put just that easy. You think you put a lien on the White House? Yo, that's an act of war, bro. What you think? You gonna foreclose on Obama? You gonna foreclose on Obama? You gonna foreclose on Trump? What are you talking about? Can't even make people's names. And you know these people actually have names. We're not making up people. Do y'all know that? Do you know? No, we're actually not making up these type of scenarios.
My goodness, man.
Yo, I got $1 billion bond. You know what I'm saying? So can I exchange some of this with some of the books? First of all, if you had $1 billion, my brother, you shouldn't be talking about exchanging anything with me with books. You should be talking to me about some damn islands or land and saying, yo, Fly, I'd like you to teach on this. What the hell you mean you got something worth $1 billion? You know, people say, can I pay you in liquid or can I pay you in these bonds? Now I got to ask you what you mean by liquid, because the shit is so insane. I don't know if you're going to offer me tea. I don't know if you're going to offer me cash, because you think you're going to give me some kind of bonded promissory note. No.
All right, man. I gotta go. I gotta go. This is just gonna go into something else, man.
You gotta go.
You know, never mind. We all. I'm good, man. What are them brothers, man? I ain't gonna say his name. I'm just like, man, whatever. All right, you know.
You fighting.
I ain't gonna say nothing, man.
There's a war going on the side of the wall.
Oh, man, it's all good.
I can say these things because the family doesn't know when you're in this position and you have to deal immediately with membership and large followings. You've heard it all. And you've done it all. You've seen it all. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And if we were to share our stories, you would think we was making it up. You know?
And like I said before, like look at the video. Look at the whole video.
That's right.
And take notes, right? And whatever you could challenge me on it on the next video.
That's right.
That's all. You know, I don't have a problem with that. Let's do it. You know, it makes no difference. Go get your favorite lawyer. Go get your favorite, you know, hustler, whoever you know. Just tell me that what I'm saying is wrong. Show me.
Remember we combated the lawyer, I think 2 months ago on the show? Or he went from being the lawyer to his friend or cousin is the lawyer. Hold on.
Yes, I remember that. Wow.
That didn't go well for him. We didn't shout over him or nothing. Because we wanted to make sure he got to say what he had to say so we could show people how incompetent the person was that was delivering the information, and then on behalf of the person that they later said they was delivering it from. First, they played the role of the lawyer. Then they turned around and said, well, actually, this is coming from, hold on, I thought you was a lawyer. So when we started decoding his madness, he put it on someone else so he could speak his false claims through an imaginary being, or by way of an imaginary being. It was very ugly. I may have to play at the beginning of one of our shows so we can get a good laugh. Family, you are rocking with the best as far as the love and the sincerity for us to teach this class. Again, you can go to IamBrotherPolite.com. Follow me on Instagram at brother_POLIGHT. Brother_Polite, POLIGHT on Instagram. Go to Facebook.com/BrotherPolite. Like the page and continue to comment and keep up with what we have. Yeah. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you stay in tune with what we teach here on I Am Brother Polite YouTube channel. Of course, the email is brotherpolite, POLIGHT45@gmail.com. Only thing different from all the other branding is that there's a 45 right there. Okay, so thank y'all very much. Follow us through email. Thank you again, Brother Lawan, for your commitment and your contribution and for your time that we have taken away from you and your beautiful family. I thank you for spending this time. I called the brother. I actually hit him up 4 a.m. my time, right? You said, brother, sleep. I hit him up 4 a.m. Yo, you going to do class today or what? 4 a.m.
4 a.m. No. Are you going to do a class in an hour and a half? That's what you put.
I was getting
I'm like, whoa.
My brain was on. I just finished studying some stuff. I was excited. I'm like, yo, I got to hit this brother up, see if he want to do class. Hour and a half from now. Then I was tripping because I was up so many hours. I thought 4 a.m. was 4 p.m. So I was thinking maybe get you to do class 5:30. I was tripping because I was up. You know, I sleep every other day.
Yes.
I was reading so much for so long that when I saw 4, I was like, okay, in an hour and a half, we're going to do this class. You know, I got my green juice. I'm taking my ginger shots with cayenne pepper. And I lit. And everyone's just like, I'm like, you know what? No wonder why I was so quiet in this house. Everyone's asleep. You feel me? I'm like, damn, Lawan probably think I'm tripping. An hour and a half, it's 4 a.m. But I'm like, hey, we can tap into our UK audience.
Yes. Love UK, man.
You know, and that's for the people who ask. The information is applicable to people in Canada. It's applicable to people in UK. It's applicable overseas. We just got to talk about strategy. That's the key word. It's about strategy. Okay. Canada, of course, has the PPSA, very similar to UCC. Okay. So all things can be done, especially if you're talking about real estate, because there's no limitations on selling real estate. Don't let no one tell you that. There's mediums that may have to be created. There's brokering deals that may be established. There's instruments that have to be rewritten or reworked a certain way. But you are never limited in your ability to make monies off of real estate. There's a way to it. Don't let them lie to you.
Yes.
So thank you. Check out those classes on brotherpolite.com. Sign up for your classes by activating your opportunity to see it through payment. We thank you so much for your love and for your support. Go to IamBrotherPolite.com. I'm loving this site. It's getting better and better by the day. I'm very grateful to my brother Jared and my wife, Nasutet Aminet Center Tumre, because they work this site night and day to get rid of every type of problem I used to have. Because Polite got so big, I wasn't paying attention to things that represent me. So now I'm back, and I actually love it. I'm like, dang, I should have been paying attention a lot more often. Because I'm a pride-filled brother. So when I start paying attention, people got to work for hours, day in and day night, because it represents me. So that's why I was doing my best to kind of let people have their creative freedom. Because when I start looking at it, this ain't even it. This is going to have a facelift in a few days, for all you know. We just getting the system right where we need it before we tweak it. So again, you can go to service and you can pick up your class, pick up your 4-package deal. Tomorrow is Sunday. I'm going to leave this package up here until evening for those who may still want to capture it. And we'll give it to you for like 1 hour. I mean, a 24-hour cycle for one day. You can do your thing. This week, pay-per-view online UCC course Sunday, January 15, 2017. We will email you the link and the instructions tonight or very early in the morning. And then, of course, you have all the other courses that's here. Real powerful. Real powerful. Poppy research. You know, this just doesn't stop. You guys are the best. Peace. This is Brother Polite.
Peace.
Iluvu.